Will the children please join me down front? I'm used to having a mic on me all the time. I forget the handheld mic. Good morning. How is everyone today? It's good to see you all here. I was wondering if you happen to know what the word saint means. Does anybody know what the word saint means? Anybody have an idea what the word saint might mean?
A saint is a person that sacrifices things for God.
Okay, that's a good answer. Does anybody else have another idea of what a saint is? Well, Church Mouse has brought a couple things this morning. I'm wondering if somebody could take one of those rolled up papers that has a rubber band around it and open it. We'll have another in a minute. Open it up and let's see what it is. Does anybody know who that might be?
St. Francis of Assisi.
St. Francis of Assisi. Can anyone tell me anything about St. Francis of Assisi? Anybody else besides David? David, tell us.
He loved plants and animals.
He loved plants and animals. Do you know anything else about him? He was a wealthy, wealthy man who decided that he was going to give up all of his money and live with the poor. And he started a group called the Franciscan Order, and they take those kind of vows to live as poor people and to share with poor people. And another thing interesting is we're getting kind of close to this time of year, kind of close to Christmas, he put together the first manger scene and kind of started creches for us. The nativity scenes that you might have in your home or we have in the church sometimes. And he did love plants and animals and blessed the plants and animals, and often on the Feast of St. Francis in October, churches will have blessings of the animals, and we hope to start doing that maybe next year. So that was one saint, and that was one thing that he did. Could somebody else take the other rolled up paper that has the rubber band and see what that one is? Does anybody know who that is? Anybody know who that is? David.
St. Agnes?
Well, she may have been called that at one time. I don't remember what her name was. It may have been that, but that's not what we mostly know her as. Anybody else know who this is? You all see who this is? Anybody know? That is Mother Teresa. Have you ever heard of Mother Teresa? What do you know about Mother Teresa? Just her name. Why do you think we might know her name?
Was she Mary's cousin?
Well, you're thinking perhaps of somebody else. She wasn't Mary's cousin, I don't think, but not this one anyway. But Mother Teresa was a woman who decided that she was going to help some of the poorest of the poor, the sickest of the sick, some of the most helpless people in the whole world, some people that had no one caring for them. So she went to Calcutta. Do you know where Calcutta is? Anybody know where Calcutta is? What part of the world is Calcutta in? A city named Calcutta. It's in India. And there were some very poor people living in the streets in India that were very sick and sometimes about to die, but with Mother Teresa, she would take care of them just like they were her own family. And she started a group called Missionaries of Charity, of other women that helped take care of these people. In 1979, she won the Nobel Peace Prize for the work that she was doing. So these are a couple of saints. Now, I want you all to stand up. And I want you to look out there and see all the people that you can see. Can you come over here so you can see a little bit better? Do you think any of those folks out there might be saints? Do you think any of them could possibly be saints? Maybe not? What do you think some people out there could do that would make them saints? What are some of the things they would that maybe if we would do, anybody in this room would do, maybe they would be thought of as a saint?
Help the poor.
Help the poor. Any other ideas? Or maybe some things we're already doing or somebody here's doing.
Start a charity organization.
Okay. Other thoughts? Anyone?
Go down to the open door on Thursday and help out.
Okay. Any other thoughts? Anyone else? Well, those are great ideas. Now, I want you to sit down again. So I think we have a lot of people here that are probably doing things that make them saints, and I think in our history we've had a lot of people too. Now, I want you to look at one more thing and tell me who you see. Who do you see?
Myself.
Who do you see?
Myself.
Who do you see?
Myself.
Henry?
Myself.
Who do you see?
Myself.
And who do you see? Do you think, who do you see? Uh-huh. Do you think you could be a saint? What are some things that you might do to be a saint, to be one of God's saints? Any thoughts? I brought a bulletin with me, and do you remember some of you were here the last time I did the children's time. We talked about 3 words. Do you remember the words? There were 3 words. What was it?
Generosity.
Generosity was one of them. Do you remember the others? I have a cheat sheet here if anybody wants to look at the quote on the front of the bulletin. Do you remember one? Henry?
Courage and genius.
Courage and genius. Generosity, courage, and genius. A lot of times the saints show a lot of courage, and they show a lot of generosity, and we talked about what those words meant before, and a lot of genius. You have to be smart to know what needs to be done and to figure out a way to do it. And I'm going to add one more word, and that word is compassion. So courage, genius, generosity, and compassion. Does anybody know what compassion means? Gabby.
Caring for another person.
Do you have another idea, Brianna?
Taking care of others.
Taking care of others, caring for another person. That's right. Showing people that you love them and doing things to help them. So all of these things, when we do them, help make us saints of God. Let's have a prayer before we go downstairs. God, we thank you for the saints in our past. We thank you for the saints in our midst. We thank you for the saints that are yet to be in our place, in our time, in the future. God, thank you for showing us ways to be saints. Help us to show courage, generosity, genius, and compassion to be the saints of God. Amen.